They don't want you to read this book. They don't want you to think too much, question too deeply, or look beyond the distractions they've placed in front of you. Because intelligence is not just discouraged in today's world, it's actively suppressed. Every system you interact with, education, media, finance, has been designed to keep you obedient, distracted, and dependent. The smartest people in history weren't rewarded for their brilliance. They were silenced, exiled, or erased. And the ones who played by the rules, they were used until they became just another cog in the machine. There exists a book so dangerous, so revealing, that it exposes the hidden war on intelligence. A book that was banned, buried, and dismissed not because it was wrong, but because it was too right. It explains why you feel disconnected from the world around you, why the masses seem to move blindly through life while you see the flaws, the contradictions, the outright lies. But here's the catch. Knowing the truth is not enough. Once you see through the illusion, you'll face a choice: conform or break free. Most won't even realize they're being controlled, but you're different, and by the time this is over, you'll understand exactly why that terrifies them. Intelligence has never been rewarded. It's been feared. Look at history. Socrates was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth with his questions. Galileo was silenced for challenging the church's authority. Nikola Tesla, a man decades ahead of his time, died penniless while the corporations that suppressed his work thrived. The pattern is clear. True intelligence disrupts, threatens, and dismantles power structures, and those in control will do anything to keep it contained. If intelligence was truly valued, why does the education system train you to memorize instead of think? Why are the most intelligent people often labeled as arrogant, difficult, or even crazy? Because intelligence is unpredictable. It doesn't follow orders. It doesn't fit neatly into a system designed for mass compliance. Schools don't teach you how to think. They teach you how to accept. Obedience is rewarded. Independent thought is punished. The straight-A student who follows every rule will struggle to adapt to the real world, while the rebel who questions everything will see the system for what it truly is: a game. And the only way to win is not to play by their rules. Look around. Society isn't evolving, it's dumbing down. The average attention span is shrinking. Critical thinking is almost non-existent, and the loudest voices belong to the most uninformed. This isn't a coincidence. It's the idiocracy effect. A world where distractions replace knowledge, where entertainment numbs the mind, and where thinking too much makes you an outcast. They don't need to control you if you control yourself. If you willingly trade intelligence for comfort, curiosity for compliance, truth for entertainment. But let's go deeper. There's something even more sinister happening. Intelligence isn't just suppressed, it's turned against itself. The more you question, the more you become the problem. You're too intense, too analytical, too much. They make you doubt yourself, label you as difficult, tell you that you need to relax, to stop overthinking. The real message? Stop seeing through the illusion. It starts early. Children are naturally curious, asking questions, challenging authority. But how often do they hear, "because I said so," instead of an actual explanation? That's not teaching, it's conditioning. By the time you're an adult, you've been trained to believe that questioning authority is dangerous, that disagreeing means you're difficult, that seeing through the lies makes you a conspiracy theorist. And just like that, intelligence becomes a burden instead of an asset. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. The system isn't just about obedience, it's about dependence. The smartest minds aren't encouraged to build something for themselves. They're taught to serve, to get the best grades, to secure the best jobs, to work for companies that extract their intelligence and discard them when they're no longer useful. The biggest lie ever told is that hard work leads to success. No. Leverage leads to success. The truly powerful don't work harder. They own the system that keeps everyone else running on a treadmill. You're not meant to break free. You're meant to spend your life running, chasing, and never questioning why the finish line keeps moving. If you've ever felt isolated, like you don't fit into the world around you, like you see through things that others blindly accept, it's not in your head. You were never meant to fit in. The world is designed for the masses, for compliance, for mediocrity. It has no place for people who think too deeply. And so, intelligence is turned into loneliness, frustration, and in many cases, self-destruction. The system doesn't have to destroy you if it convinces you to destroy yourself. But there's a way out. The book they don't want you to read reveals something powerful. You must stop playing by their rules. The most intelligent people in history didn't wait for permission to act. They created their own path, their own leverage, their own game. You must do the same. Intelligence alone is not enough. You must learn how to use it, because if you don't, it will be used against you. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who follow and those who see through the illusion. Most people will never question the system. They'll live their entire lives chasing a dream that was engineered to keep them running in circles. But you're not most people. That's why you're here. That's why you've made it this far. And that's why, whether you realize it or not, you've already taken the first step toward breaking free. But now comes the real challenge. What will you do with this knowledge? Because knowing the truth is one thing. Acting on it is another. Most people will hear this and do nothing. They'll go back to their routines, their distractions, their comfortably controlled lives. But a rare few, will wake up. They'll see the system for what it is and start playing by a different set of rules. The war on intelligence is real, and the greatest weapon they have is your own doubt. So the question is, will you keep questioning yourself? Or will you finally start questioning the world that made you this way? They have spent centuries perfecting the art of controlling intelligence, not by force, not by obvious oppression, but by something much more dangerous, by making you believe that intelligence doesn't matter. They tell you that questioning too much will make you miserable. They convince you that being different is a curse, not a gift. They make you feel alone, like you're the problem. But what if the truth is that the world is designed this way on purpose? There exists a book that lays it all out. A book so dangerous, so exposing, that it was banned, ridiculed, and erased from mainstream history. Not because it was false, but because it was too true. This book doesn't just talk about intelligence. It explains why intelligence is attacked, how systems are built to suppress it, and what you must do to break free. The book reveals the most terrifying truth of all. The world does not reward intelligence. It rewards obedience. The greatest lie ever told is that intelligence alone will bring success. It won't. Because intelligence without strategy is a trap. The system doesn't fear intelligence, it harvests it. It finds the smartest people and convinces them to spend their lives serving corporations, building wealth for others, solving problems for the elite, while never realizing they are the ones being used. They do this by using a simple but highly effective weapon, validation. They dangle grades, job titles, social approval, and prestige in front of you, making you believe that if you just work hard enough, if you just follow the rules, if you just prove yourself, you'll be rewarded. But that's the lie. The system isn't designed to reward intelligence, it's designed to extract it. Think about it. Who are the wealthiest, most powerful people on the planet? Are they the most intelligent? No. They're the ones who understand the system and manipulate it to their advantage. They don't play by the rules. They write them. Meanwhile, the truly brilliant minds, the scientists, the thinkers, the innovators, are often left behind, struggling, unheard, because they never realized they were never meant to win the game. And that's exactly what this book exposes. It breaks down how intelligence is weaponized against itself. It explains why intelligence isolates you, why the world makes you feel like you're too much, why you're constantly being told to tone it down, to stop overanalyzing, to just go along with it. It explains why the education system trains you to compete instead of collaborate, why workplaces strip away your creativity and make you a cog in a machine, why media feeds you garbage, keeping you distracted and passive. And most importantly, it reveals the only way out. You must stop seeking permission to exist. This is the most painful truth for intelligent people to accept. You've been conditioned to believe that intelligence should be recognized, validated, and rewarded. That if you're the smartest in the room, you should naturally rise to the top. But that's not how the game works. The people who rise to the top aren't the smartest. They're the ones who understand leverage. They're the ones who see the illusion for what it is and break the rules strategically. They don't work harder, they work smarter. They don't seek approval, they build their own systems. They don't compete within the framework, they create their own frameworks. And this is what they don't want you to know. Because the moment you stop chasing their validation, the moment you realize you don't need their approval to succeed, you become dangerous. You become free. This book explains the exact mechanisms used to keep intelligent people powerless. It details the psychological tactics used to make you doubt yourself. It exposes how society labels you, isolates you, and convinces you that intelligence is a burden instead of a weapon. And here's the most shocking part. It's working. The world today is more connected than ever before. Knowledge is everywhere. Yet people are more lost, more confused, more manipulated than at any point in history. Why? Because access to information doesn't mean access to truth. In fact, the more information people have, the easier they are to manipulate. If you flood people with endless noise, endless distractions, endless half-truths, they'll eventually stop thinking altogether. And that's the real war on intelligence. It's not about making people stupid, it's about making them so overwhelmed, so mentally exhausted that they give up on thinking for themselves. They hand over their minds willingly. They stop asking questions. They accept the narrative fed to them. They become exactly what the system wants them to be: passive, distracted, obedient. But if you've made it this far, something inside you is resisting that. Something inside you is rejecting the programming, and that means you're already different. You already see through the illusion, at least partially. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to living in the illusion, pretending you don't know. The only way forward is to take control of your intelligence, to stop letting it be used against you, to learn the strategies that break you free from the system instead of keeping you trapped inside it. The book reveals exactly how the elite build power while keeping the masses weak. It exposes how corporations, governments, and institutions all work together to manufacture obedience. It explains how fear, scarcity, and validation are used to manipulate even the smartest people into following the path laid out for them instead of creating their own. This book is not just about intelligence. It's about awakening, about reclaiming the power that has been systematically drained from you. It's about understanding the game so you can stop being a pawn and start becoming a player. But here's where it gets even more interesting. They don't have to physically burn books anymore to suppress knowledge. They have more effective ways of erasing dangerous information. They flood the internet with garbage, making it impossible to find what truly matters. They discredit, ridicule, and demonize those who speak the truth. They keep you so busy with nonsense that you don't even realize you're being programmed. They make intelligence seem useless. They make truth seem exhausting. They make the most important ideas invisible, and most people will never notice. They will live their entire lives believing they are making choices, while every choice they make has been carefully engineered for them. They will believe they are free, while being trapped in a prison without walls. But not you. Because now you know. And now you have a choice. Will you pretend you never heard this? Will you go back to sleep, back to the comfortable lie? Or will you do something about it? Because knowledge is only power if you use it. And the system is counting on the fact that you won't. The war on intelligence isn't fought with guns or prisons, it's fought with something much more effective. Conditioning. It doesn't silence you with force, it makes you silence yourself. It convinces you that being intelligent is a burden, that thinking too much is exhausting, that questioning is dangerous. It turns your greatest strength, your ability to see through the lies, into a weakness. And that's how intelligence is suppressed. Not by telling you that you're wrong, but by making you doubt yourself. By making intelligence feel like a curse instead of a gift. It starts early. Children are born curious, asking why the sky is blue, why the world works the way it does. But what happens when they start asking too many questions? They're told to stop overthinking, to just accept things as they are. And over time, that curiosity is dulled, beaten down until it's barely a whisper. By the time they reach adulthood, they don't even realize they've been trained to stop questioning. The system labels intelligence as a problem. The more you think, the more difficult you are. The more you challenge ideas, the more you're seen as a troublemaker. The smartest minds in history weren't celebrated in their time. They were ostracized, ridiculed, or erased. But it doesn't stop there. Intelligence isn't just discouraged, it's turned against itself. Ever noticed how the most intelligent people often struggle with self-doubt? How they constantly question their own conclusions? That's not a coincidence. That's psychological warfare. If the system can't make you unintelligent, it will make you question your intelligence until you render yourself powerless. You'll start asking, am I just being difficult? Am I the problem? Maybe I should just go along with it. That's the trap. They want you to stop trusting your mind. They want you to believe that thinking deeply is a flaw. They want you to feel alone in your intelligence. Because isolated minds don't unite, and divided minds are easy to control. But there's more. Society isn't just structured to suppress intelligence. It's structured to punish it. Look at the way the modern world is designed. Entertainment is shallow. Media is manipulative. Education is rigid. Every system is optimized to keep people mentally passive. The news doesn't inform, it distracts. Schools don't teach critical thinking. They teach obedience. And the economy? It keeps you too busy surviving to ever question why you're trapped in the first place. Ever noticed how intelligence rarely leads to wealth? Some of the most brilliant people in history died broke. Meanwhile, those who exploit intelligence, who use systems instead of playing within them, rise to power. That's because intelligence alone isn't enough. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you're playing by their rules, you will lose. They've created an entire illusion of meritocracy. The idea that if you work hard, if you're smart enough, you'll rise to the top. But the reality is much darker. The world doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards those who understand how to manipulate intelligence. The smartest people don't run the world. They work for the people who do. But how? How do they get so many intelligent people to waste their potential? Simple. Financial dependence. Money is the perfect tool for control. It forces even the smartest people to trade their intelligence for survival. It keeps them too occupied with bills and debt to ever question the bigger picture. If you're constantly worried about money, about paying rent, about making ends meet, when do you have time to challenge the system? You don't. That's the point. And this isn't by accident. The entire economy is built to extract value from intelligence while keeping it trapped. Think about it. The most intelligent people often work for corporations, building new technology, solving complex problems, while the people at the top simply own the system that profits from their work. The system wants intelligent people, but it doesn't want them free. It wants them controlled. That's why school doesn't teach financial intelligence. That's why universities put students into debt before they even begin their careers. That's why salaries are just enough to keep you comfortable but never enough to make you independent. A financially independent mind is a dangerous mind. And that's just the beginning. Beyond financial control, there's an even more powerful weapon used to suppress intelligence. Social validation. The world has been engineered to make you fear rejection more than you fear ignorance. They make intelligence socially costly. You've seen it before. The person who challenges the narrative is the one who gets attacked. The one who questions authority is the one who gets labeled difficult. The one who thinks differently is the one who gets ridiculed, shamed, or silenced. This isn't just peer pressure, it's systemic conditioning. Most people aren't afraid of being wrong. They're afraid of standing alone. And the system knows that. It knows that if it can make intelligence isolating, it can make it irrelevant. That's why intelligent people feel alone. That's why they feel out of place. Because society was never designed for them. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. The isolation is an illusion. Because you are not alone. There are others, many others, who see through the lies, who recognize the suppression, who feel the exact same disconnection. The reason you feel different isn't because something is wrong with you. It's because something is wrong with the world you were born into. And the system is terrified that people like you will find each other. Because intelligence when divided is weak, but intelligence when united is unstoppable. That's why they need you distracted. That's why they need you overwhelmed. That's why they need you too mentally exhausted to ever realize your own power. The war on intelligence isn't just about keeping you from learning. It's about keeping you from acting. Because once you start acting, once you start breaking free from the system's control, you become a threat. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Because intelligence alone won't save you. Knowledge without action is just another form of paralysis. The real question isn't whether or not you see through the illusion, it's what you're going to do about it. The moment you wake up to the war on intelligence, everything changes. You start to see the patterns, the systems designed to control you, the distractions engineered to keep you weak, the invisible chains that have kept you bound your entire life. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. The question is, what do you do now? Most people, even after realizing the truth, do nothing. They continue playing by the same rules, hoping that this time, somehow, things will be different. But they won't be, because this system doesn't change. It doesn't reward intelligence, it harvests it. It doesn't empower you, it uses you. So if you want to escape, you have to stop playing the game the way they taught you to play it, and that begins with the first and most important shift. Stop seeking validation. From the moment you were born, you were conditioned to believe that your intelligence must be recognized and rewarded by others, that if you're smart, the world will see it, appreciate it, and compensate you for it. But that is the lie that keeps you trapped. If you are waiting for the system to reward you for thinking differently, you will die waiting. Look at history. The ones who truly changed the world, the thinkers, the innovators, the rebels, didn't wait for permission. They didn't beg for validation. They moved in silence, created their own leverage, and forced the world to recognize them on their terms. That is your first step to breaking free. Stop expecting intelligence to be enough, because it's not. The people in power do not care how smart you are. They only care about one thing: do you have power or not? If you do, they will respect you. If you don't, you are just another disposable mind, another source of intelligence to be extracted and discarded. Which brings us to the second rule of escaping the trap. Leverage is more important than effort. Society tells you that working hard is the path to success. That if you put in the hours, if you push yourself, if you do everything the right way, you'll eventually be rewarded. But that's not how power works. The most powerful people in the world do not work harder than you. They have leverage. They own the system, so they don't have to work in it. They control resources, networks, and influence, so they can make money while they sleep. They understand that success isn't about how much you do, it's about what you control. And intelligence, if not paired with leverage, is powerless. This is why so many brilliant people struggle. They sell their intelligence instead of owning it. They trade their genius for a paycheck, for approval, for a seat at someone else's table, never realizing that the real game is about building the table yourself. So how do you stop being a pawn and start playing the game correctly? You must stop focusing on effort and start focusing on positioning. Smart people think, if I just work hard enough, someone will notice and reward me. Powerful people think, how do I put myself in a position where I don't need permission to win? And that means you have to take control of three things. Your time, stop wasting it on things that don't build power. Every moment you spend consuming meaningless content, arguing with people online, or drowning in distractions is time you are giving away to the system. Start reclaiming it. Your skills. Intelligence alone is not a skill. It must be directed. Learn how to create, how to build, how to monetize your intelligence. so you are not dependent on anyone else to survive. Your network. You are one connection away from an opportunity that could change everything. But most people surround themselves with others who are just as trapped as they are. If the people around you are not helping you escape, they are keeping you imprisoned. The system wants you isolated, overworked and distracted, because a mind that is alone, exhausted and constantly consuming nonsense is a mind that will never challenge its masters. And that brings us to the next rule of escaping the trap. Stop playing defense. Start playing offense. The system trains you to react, to defend, to justify yourself, to constantly fight battles that drain your energy and lead nowhere. But powerful people do not play defense. They do not explain. They do not beg. They do not react. They move. They build. They act. Think of the last time you saw someone being attacked for thinking differently. How did they respond? Most people panic. They defend themselves. They apologize for seeing through the illusion. They try to explain their perspective to people who were never going to listen in the first place. But look at the truly powerful. They don't explain. They double down. They use criticism as fuel. They use rejection as data. And they keep moving forward while everyone else wastes energy trying to stop them. That's the mindset shift you must embrace. The moment you stop reacting, stop explaining, and start moving with absolute certainty, you become unstoppable. The final step to escaping the trap? Build something of your own. This is the secret that every intelligent person must learn to survive. You cannot win playing someone else's game. You cannot thrive working under someone else's rules. You cannot be free if your survival depends on the approval, the paycheck, or the permission of another person. You must build skills, build leverage, build something no one can take from you, because at the end of the day there are two kinds of people in this world: those who consume, who are controlled, influenced, and manipulated by what others create, and those who create, who shape reality, who dictate the terms, who own their intelligence instead of renting it out. Most people will never do this. They will stay in the trap, playing the game they were told to play, waiting for permission that will never come. But if you've made it this far, you are not most people. You are awake now, and that means you have a responsibility, because intelligence is not just a gift, it is a weapon, a tool that can either free you or destroy you. The war on intelligence is real, but the ones who win are not the ones who are the smartest. They are the ones who stop asking for permission and start building power. The question is, what are you going to do next? The war on intelligence is not slowing down, it's accelerating. Right now we are standing at the edge of a new era, one where thinking for yourself is about to become even more dangerous. Because intelligence is no longer just an inconvenience to those in power, it's a threat to the entire system. Look at the world around you. Automation, artificial intelligence, mass surveillance. These aren't just technological advancements, they are tools of control. For the first time in history, those in power do not need to rely on an obedient workforce. They are replacing people with machines, making human intelligence obsolete. Think about what that means. For centuries, the system needed intelligent people to build its wealth, run its businesses, develop its technology, but now, the elite no longer need your intelligence. In fact, they fear it more than ever, because an intelligent person who is no longer useful to the system is a liability, a disruptor, a problem that needs to be neutralized, and that is exactly what they are doing. Right now, intelligence is under attack on multiple fronts. First, there is the illusion of knowledge. People believe they are more informed than ever before. The internet has given them access to unlimited information. But access to information is not the same as understanding. They are drowning in noise, overwhelmed by conflicting narratives, exhausted by endless debates, and in the end they stop thinking altogether. They become mentally paralyzed, unable to form conclusions, unable to separate truth from deception. That's by design, because a confused mind is an obedient mind. If you are constantly doubting yourself, constantly lost in a sea of endless opinions, you are easy to control. The second front is emotional manipulation. Intelligence is not just about logic, it is about the ability to see clearly, to separate fact from fiction, fear from reality. And right now the world is being engineered for emotional instability. People are addicted to outrage, addicted to drama, addicted to constant emotional stimulation. Every platform, every news outlet, every social media feed is designed to keep you reacting instead of thinking. And here's the terrifying part. It works. A person who is emotionally unstable does not think critically. They do not question authority, they seek comfort. And the system is always there to provide it through entertainment, consumerism, distractions that numb the mind. The third and most powerful attack on intelligence: digital dependency. We are living in an era where people no longer trust their own minds. They rely on algorithms to tell them what to read, what to think, what to believe. The ability to sit in silence, to reflect, to form independent thoughts, it is disappearing. And that is exactly what they want, because the moment you stop trusting your own intelligence, you become completely dependent on the system to do your thinking for you. That is the final stage of control, not censorship, not force, but voluntary mental enslavement. Most people will never see it happening. They will embrace their own suppression, believing that life is easier when they don't have to think too much, when they let the system make decisions for them. But if you're still here, listening to this, you already know too much to go back. You see through the illusion, you see how intelligence is not just discouraged, it is actively hunted down and eliminated. So what do? The answer is simple: you must evolve. Intelligence alone is no longer enough. You must become anti-fragile, able to thrive in chaos, to see through deception, to build power in a world that is actively trying to suppress it. And that starts with one thing: self-reliance. You must own your intelligence. Stop renting it out to a system that wants to use it against you. Stop waiting for validation. Stop seeking approval. Start creating leverage. Build something of your own. Create income streams that do not require permission. Develop skills that make you independent from any system. Disconnect from the distraction machine that is designed to keep you weak. Most importantly, form alliances. Because intelligence, when isolated, is vulnerable, but intelligence, when connected to others who see through the same lies, becomes an unstoppable force. That is why they want intelligent people divided. That is why they make you feel alone, like no one else thinks like you, like no one else sees what you see. But that is the final illusion. You are not alone. And the moment you realize that, the moment you connect with others who refuse to be controlled, that is the moment everything changes. Because intelligence is not dying, it is awakening. And those who adapt, who learn to navigate this war, who stop playing by the system's rules, they will be the ones who shape the future. The question is, will you be one of them?